Imagine your life savings just gone. Poof. This is the incredible story of a devastating £5 million property scam. But it's about more than just money. It's about how trust was shattered in communities all across the UK. Let's dig into how it all went down.
At the very heart of this whole thing is one single staggering number, £5 million. And look, we're not talking about some faceless corporation's money here. This was people's life savings, their retirement funds, their kids' futures, and it was all gone.
You know, this thing started out in Birmingham, but it didn't stay there. It spread like wildfire, moving through these incredibly close networks of friends and family, catching victims from literally all over the country.
And as all of these victims started talking, comparing their stories, one single name just kept coming up again and again. The one person connecting every single story of loss and betrayal, Ghazala Din.
So you have to ask, right? What made this scam so believable? How did so many smart, savvy people get drawn into this? Well, it all started with a promise that was, frankly, brilliant in how simple and deceptive it was. Let's break down how it actually worked.
Okay, so the model itself was almost ridiculously simple. First, you invest a chunk of money. In return, you're promised guaranteed cash payments every single month. Then, and this is the really clever part, you get extra bonuses for bringing your friends and family into it. And the grand prize? A huge final payout after only a year. It just sounded like a perfect can't-lose deal.
And you know what? For a while, it seemed to work. From 2018, for 2 whole years, those early investors got paid, like clockwork, every month. So it stopped being just a promise and started looking like proof. This created this powerful illusion that everything was legit, which is what made the scheme grow so fast. People reinvested, they told everyone they knew, and then, in 2021, the whole house of cards came crashing down.
And that was the turning point. That steady flow of money, all those reassurances, they didn't just slow down. They stopped, cold, replaced by a deafening and frankly terrifying silence.
I mean, the difference between what was promised and what actually happened is just mind-blowing. People were sold this dream of guaranteed returns, a massive payout, all managed by a pro. But what they got was a total nightmare. 0 returns, 0 payouts, and a complete wall of silence.
But that silence didn't just happen overnight. No. First came the excuses. Plausible stuff, you know? Oh, we're having some banking issues, or there are just some delays with the property sales. It was all designed to string people along to buy more time. But when you look at it now, you can see the clear pattern of deception that just spiraled into a total communication blackout.
And this is where the story gets so much bigger than just the money, because this wasn't some anonymous scam run by strangers. This was a deep, personal betrayal that just tore through the very fabric of these tight-knit communities.
Just listen to that. It's absolutely heartbreaking. It really captures that feeling of shame that so many victims felt. But the other part of that quote is so important. But Ghazala Din was very convincing. This wasn't some email phishing attempt. This was personal. It was face-to-face, intimate, and incredibly manipulative.
And that right there is the most important thing to understand. The £5 million number is shocking, for sure. But the real theft, the thing that was stolen that you can never put a price on, it was trust. The trust between friends, between family members, between neighbors, that was the real crime here.
So how exactly was that trust weaponized? Well, the scheme didn't need advertising. It just spread through people you knew. The referral bonuses basically turned everyone into a recruiter. Meetings happened in living rooms face-to-face. The good reputations of the first people who got paid were used as social proof to reassure new investors. It turned victims into the scheme's most effective recruiters, and they didn't even know it. So, where does all this leave the victims? Well, the money is gone, but their fight for accountability, that's really just getting started. And it's a fight that's been full of frustration.
Dozens of victims have come forward with what seems like a mountain of evidence. We're talking recordings, text messages, bank records, the whole shebang. And yet so many of them feel like the authorities have just abandoned them. And maybe the most shocking part? There are reports that this scam is still out there, trying to find new victims. Because of all this, community groups are now banding together, pushing for a proper, official investigation.
Which brings us to the one massive, frustrating question that hangs over this whole story. With millions of pounds lost, with dozens of lives absolutely ruined, and with so much evidence collected, why has there been so little progress toward getting any kind of justice?
Because at the end of the day, after all the broken promises, all the excuses and all the shattered trust, there's one name that continues to echo through every single victim story: Ghazala Din.